Hey everyone, this is David. Welcome back behind the velvet rope. Let's just get right into it today because we are back. Orange County is back and we have a lot to discuss. I'm going to talk about some real life RHONJ stuff too afterwards. But, you guys you're here on Patreon. So you know me. You know that I'm a happy person. You know that I want to keep this positive. But we have just had toxic New Jersey bullshit. And you know what the problem with New Jersey is? I forgot who I was talking about this with. But like, it's hard for me to stay so invested, knowing that a pause is coming. So I really don't care about what's going on, knowing that it is a lame duck season, that half of these people that are up there are not going to be up there anymore. When I tell you, everyone says you're obsessed with Teresa, Melissa. And I said, listen, the day I don't do this job or they're not on the screen or they're not in the news anymore, I'm not going to talk about them. So it's hard for me to be that invested knowing that the show is going away for a hot minute in like 3 weeks. We're going to get to that in some of Andy Cohen's comments. So, but I can be positive. And I am positive here today because I fucking loved the premiere of RHOC. I thought I would from the trailer. Like, we are back in business. And I want to I don't know if an apology is the right word, because Scott Dunlop, Alex Baskin, Andy Cohen, it did suck. It sucked for 2 seasons, and you tried to get it back on track last season with the return of the rat that scurries. And you guys, Andy Cohen knows that the rat that scurries loves her Gouda in the corner. You got it near the highway, but you didn't get it back on track last season. And this season, wow. Wow. So look, it's just like Salt Lake. You went from great to good to the horrible to the best season ever, season 4. So I'm positive about, I don't know if the future of Housewives is the right word because the ratings are down across the board. I would love to see the ratings on the OC, but it just goes to show you that anything is possible. A horrible season, 2 horrible seasons, it doesn't mean we're done. I still do think it's like the beginning of the end for a lot of Housewives. I do think we need to pare back. But I fucking loved it. There's really no but. It's going to be such a good season. And this is what people want, I feel. This isn't light. This is intense, intense drama. A woman crashed her fucking car into a goddamn house, and the bricks from the house were taken out, and the dog was in the back of the car. This is a real life thing here. There are police, there are lawyers, there are criminal charges, there is alcohol. Now we have a housewife from the past who's dating your ex. There is such history between Alexis, Heather, Shannon, Tamra, the rats that scurries. And look, we will be objective here week after week. I don't like Teresa, but I can say we're not keeping Melissa over her. We're going to get into that. So we will be judging the rat that scurries. We'll call her Tamra for these purposes, just like everyone else. I don't got nothing against Tamra on the show. She's a good housewife, and we're going to get into that. So we're going to be objective. And there's just such history between this group of women, and yet it's not toxic. It's drama. This is real shit here. But this isn't like Teresa, paying with a disgusting lawyer, paying D-list podcast to put out your name. This is just like classic Housewives. We have returned to, isn't that crazy? What a round the world type of events, that this is where it all started. And as these other franchises go to shit and the OC went to shit, isn't it funny how this is back on track? I think it's going to be a great season. I am being positive. I loved it. So let's get into it. Without further ado, behind the Velvet Rope Patreon RHOC breakdown. So many of you have slipped into my DMs and have said I don't watch that toxic Jersey shit, but I am going to watch the OC. So great. Welcome, 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 welcome. I was really nervous when it started, like when the lights dimmed and they said, whatever the date came up, 2023, Shannon's been drinking. There was a reunion. Everyone's questioning her drinking 10 days later, right before that first scene. I was nervous as the lights went down. Like, please, please, Housewives, just let this be good. Just let this be good. Is that too much for a girl of my age to ask? And it was good. So we see that Shannon 10 days later. Then we see the scene with Heather and her, where Shannon shows her the bloody eye picture. That was no joke. Then we see 5 months later, because, we're filming 5 months later. They show scenes of the whole show, of what's coming, and I'm just like, more classic Housewives. So I don't know if an apology is in order to these gentlemen that run this, Scott Dunlop, Alex Baskin, Andy Cohen, but thank you. Thank you for getting it back on track. One of the first scenes, my favorite person on the whole show, Miss Heather Durrow. There'll never be another favorite because we all know that I'm swayed when housewives have real money. It's such a short list. So we see this house that Heather informs us, that the same house in Bel Air with her view, she's in Beverly Hills, went for $188 million. I just would like to know, how great is that Heather sells her $55 million home in the OC, lives in Beverly Hills. We're not trying to cover that fact up, and is still on the OC Housewives. Look, when I'm in LA at my home, yeah, you can get in a car, Uber, and you can be in the OC in like less. When I went to Elizabeth Vargas's house, and shout out to my girl Vargas, because she was mentioned her on the show. When I went to Elizabeth Vargas's a few weeks ago, it was like 45 minutes. So it's not that big a deal. It's just like if, Dorinda went and starred on New Jersey, it can be done. It's just not that far away. But I just love how we're not even trying to hide the fact that Heather lives in Beverly Hills. She's on the OC Housewives, and no one on the damn Beverly Hills Housewives actually lives in Beverly Hills. Okay, Sutton lives in Bel Air. Jennifer Tilly lives in Bel Air. Those certainly count. Lisa Rinna used to live in Beverly Hills proper. But other than that, we have Encino and the Valley and all this other shit. I just think that's great. Yeah, Heather would be great on Beverly Hills Housewives, but we don't need her there. We have her here, and she's great. So be a big fish in the small pond, dude, bro.